Last year in 2024, this fun-filled sitcom that I never did get to see as a kid celebrated its 40th anniversary. Of course, they did a TV log on it, and it did alright. But I'm going to revisit this just because I want to. It's a show that featured a young girl who happens to be a tomboy who apparently is now homeless, but ends up with a crotchety old man who really takes a shine to her. And well, turns out for the best. So prepare yourself and get yourself ready for some punky power as I revisit the one, the only Punky Brewster in this TV log. Revisit it right now. This is a Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews Revisited TV log. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Noel, the Big D to you. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So this week, maybe not this, beep, beep. Take two. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Noel, the Big D to you. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So today I'm going to be giving to you a special revisited TV log, and it's going to be on a really great show. A show I never did get to see as a kid, although I did see its animated spin-off though, but I'll talk about that later. But anyway, this is a show about a tomboy who ends up, being left behind by her father at first, and then her mother now, somehow leaves her without coming back. But soon she and her canine companion ends up with a crotchety old man, and soon they become, like a family in a way. So now, without further ado, here she is. A real fun show that I've really come to love and enjoy since I first saw it on YouTube. It's the one and only Punky Brewster. Punky Brewster was a fun-filled, family-friendly sitcom that was created by David W. Duclon and originally premiered on NBC in September of 1984, produced by NBC themselves along with Lighthouse Productions. So, Punky Brewster, eh? Well, I'm going to say was a fun show. Now, I had known about it through its animated series, but I never got to see its live action counterpart until many years later. Anyway, NBC premiered the show on September 16th, 1984. About a young girl who happens to be a tomboy and is now being raised by a foster parent in Chicago. Anyway, now of course, this focuses on the main character of Punky, whose real name was Penelope, but that was only revealed in the second episode, and the third episode. Anyway, Punky is a warm, funny, and bright child. Her father walked out on her family, then her mother abandoned her at Chicago's shopping center when they were shopping for groceries, leaving Punky alone with her dog Brandon. Afterwards, Punky discovers a vacant apartment in a local building. The building is managed by 60-year-old Henry Warrenmont, a widowed photographer with a grouchy streak who finds Punky in the abandoned apartment. Well, Punky hits it off with young Cherie Johnson, who is played by the actual actress of that name. I'll get to that later. Who lives in Henry's building with her grandmother, Betty, who happens to be a registered nurse at Cook County Hospital. Henry discovers Punky in the empty apartment across from his. Punky explains things to him, and he decides to take Punky in. The relationship between the two blossoms despite red tape from social worker Randy Mitchell, who ultimately rallies to Henry's side. The state forces Punky to stay at Fencer Hall, an emergency shelter for orphaned and abandoned children, until their day in court. The court approves Henry's wish to become Punky's foster father, and then he legally adopts her in the second season. Punky's other friends include the geeky Alan Anderson, who we see in the first 3 seasons, and the spoiled rich girl Margot Kramer, who is always really prissy or something like that. And and when everybody makes a little fun, she's just like peasants. During its run on NBC, Punky had some teachers regular season. In the first season was the cheerful Mrs. Moran, and the second season, the hip Mike Fulton, who formed a close relationship with Punky and her friends and was also portrayed as a social crusader of sorts. Now, for the show's first season, Margot's socialite mother appeared on a recurring basis as the kooky maintenance man Eddie Melvin, but disappeared after the first several episodes. Beginning in '84, the series aired on NBC on Sundays alongside Silver Spoons, which was another show that was done by David Duclos, who of course created Punky Brewster. Now, but the show had many young viewers, kind of like ABC had with Webster at the time, and was scheduled after football games, which tended to run long. 6 15-minute episodes were produced. This was done rather than enjoying a full-length episode in progress so as not to disappoint children watching the program, which, of course, that is completely understandable. Be right back. The show later got picked up for a second season in 1985. That same year, the network also got an animated spin-off, also called Punky Brewster, but was promoted as It's Punky Brewster, where there were more episodes to come. So, well, in February of 1986, the second season introduced the first installment of a 5-part storyline, which was called Changes. Henry's photography studio was destroyed in a fire, and for a time he seemingly would not be able to recover from the aftermath and resume his career. As a result of his stress, he ended up hospitalized for a bleeding ulcer. Well, but unfortunately, things take a turn for the worse as a social worker named Simon P. Chillings shows up and found out about Henry's condition and deemed the worst. He found Betty, who she and Cherie made arrangements for Punky to stay with them until Henry recovered. Well, felt she was unsuitable to care because, well, Punky would not have her own room. And not only that, Chillings also felt that Henry was unfit to be Punky's legal guardian in the long term due to his health, age, and uncertain financial future. And thus, he made Punky a ward of the state yet again and returned to Finster Hall. Not only that, she ends up with some others problems and what have you. Now, even though Punky did make an escape from Finster Hall, which included a trick pulled by Margot, in which she dressed up and pretended to be Punky. Despite advocacy from Mike, Chillings placed Punky with a new foster family, a fabulously wealthy family, the Buckworths. Well, the matriarch, whom did not take kindly at all to Punky's working class playfulness, excuse me, got a little tongue tied there. Jules and Tiffany, that's what I meant. Jules is the patriarch and Tiffany is the. I got sidetracked. My bad. However, things eventually returned to normal gradually as Henry was back on his feet and opened up a glitzy new studio at the Maytown Mall, I believe. Yeah, and the Midtown. Sorry. And in the process, he reunited with Punky, and well, Henry officially adopted Punky in the conclusion. The final episode was notable for centering on the very recent real-life space shuttle's Challenger disaster. Well, Punky and her classmates watched the live coverage in Mike's class, and after the accident occurred, Punky is traumatized. Now her dreams of becoming an astronaut are crushed. However, Mike then brings over former NASA astronaut Buzz Aldrin to visit her. After that, the show was no more. NBC canceled the show instantly. However, despite being canceled, the show still managed its animated spin-off would, however, come back. would still be on. Apparently, this along with Silver Spoons, well, could not compete as strongly as they hoped as they went up against CBS's own 60 Minutes. But like many cult favorite sitcoms at the time, Punky was revived for syndication, as was Silver Spoons, which had just went to syndication that year in '86 after NBC dropped it. But unfortunately, Punky did not come back until the next year. While the show was in production throughout the '86-'87 season, the show did not come back until October 30th, 1987 in syndication. Beginning on that premiere day, Punky was packaged such that new episodes would air weekday, usually late in the afternoon on independent stations. The entire third season aired in the 5 days a week format through December 8th, 1987. Well, by the syndicated run, the storylines had clearly started to mature. Many more of Punky and Cherie's friends were seen, although most only made a handful of appearances each, with Margot becoming their comic foil and source of friction. And early in the season, Alan moved away to Kansas with his mother following his parents' divorce. Punky herself neared junior high, and her avant-garde day-glow and multicolored attire, along with her pigtails, sagged into more traditional teenage styles. And her declaration of and reliance on punky power gave way to the realization that intelligence, common sense, and strong will can get one out of any problem. Well, even so, Punky's spunk and vivacious attitude toward life did remain, though, thanks in part to the sunshine brought in by the most important man in her life, her adoptive dad, Henry. Unfortunately, however, Henry's photography studio did continue, well, got into a little bit of a run later on, though it continues to see much success. By the end of the third season, he received an offer from a photo studio franchise named Glossy's for a $100,000 buyout of Warmont. Well, apparently, after Henry accepted, he soon found that his creativity and business style were not being accepted. So he quit and then decided to give in to Punky and Cherie's dream to run their own teen hangout or burger establishment and invest into another mall property, which ended up being into Punky's Place. Well, anyway, the show did continue to be, well, run along with reruns of the original series. In April the following year, in '88, a fourth season occurred and ended with the finale Weighing Bells for Brandon, where Brandon, Punky's canine companion, fell in love with Brenda. Now, of course, Brandon's a golden retriever, and, well, Brenda belonged to one of Henry and Punky's neighbors, and their whirlwind romance culminated in a wedding ceremony in the courtyard, which was attended mostly by other canines in the neighborhood. Now, according to Cherie Johnson, Weighing Bells for Brandon was not intended to be the series finale. That particular episode came along in the midst of the Writers Guild of America strike of 1988. After that, Punky Brewster was officially no more. But anyway, however, continued in reruns. Now, the show did later get rerun on the Family Channel. But that's the only place I know of, which aired until about 1997. But I failed to catch this because, unfortunately, I think Family Channel dropped the series right about the time I got satellite. Thus, I never got to see this show. I tried to watch it and failed because numerous other guys wanted to watch other things because I wanted to watch it somewhere else because they didn't have cable back then where I was living at the time. But the heck with it. Anywho, let's see. But Punky Brewster to this day has never been shown again, not even on a Diginet. Not even on Antenna TV or Me TV or heck even Cozy TV, which they're usually well known for giving us Universal produced programs, even though later Columbia Pictures took over the distribution rights. But NBC still, however, produced the show. Yeah. Oh, I made an error here. I said the production company was Lighthouse. It's Lightkeeper Productions. I humbly apologize for that. Anyway, Lightkeeper Productions also worked on the first season of Silver Spoon. I am terribly sorry. I got sidetracked again. It's just been a few months since I last watched an episode, but I still love this show after watching it. Anyway, now there was a revival that came on the Peacock streaming service where Punky's now grown up as a single mother of three, trying to get her life back on track when she meets a young girl who reminds her a lot of her younger self. I have yet to watch it, but it got canned instantly after one season. Anyway, nevertheless, Punky Brewster in it after an overall total of 88 episodes that were produced and aired over its overall 4 season run. Anyway, for our cast, we have a pretty good cast and what have you. Playing Henry is George Gaynes, who has appeared on numerous shows and in movies, most notably the Police Academy franchise, where he played a Commandant, excuse me. We have Soleil Moon Frye playing the titular character of Punky. I'm going to say she's amazing in this. Of course, she later went on to be on Sabrina the Teenage Witch years later. Playing Cherie Johnson is Susie Garrett. She was recurring at first, but then was later added to the core cast in the second season. Same went with Cherie Johnson, who played, well, Cherie Johnson. Yeah, can you believe that? I can't. But anyway, and T.K. Carter was part of the core cast in the second season as Mike Fulton. Now, for recurring characters, we had Casey Ellison playing Alan Anderson in the first 2 seasons and a guest star in the third season. He, however, would continue on to play Wesley's friend on Mr. Belvedere. Playing. Now, we have two familiar people who recently appeared in the Grease films. Playing Eddie Malvin was Eddie Deason, who played Eugene. And Mrs. Moran was played by Dudie Goodman, who played Blanche, Miss McGee's secretary. And there would be lots of other familiar names to be seen and what have you, but there's too many to mention. But I still liked how what this had to offer, great characters, and such an amazing story and what have you in every single episode, because I loved just about every single episode of Punky Brewster when I first watched it. I'll give you a look at the characters. Now here's a shot of what the main characters plus some recurring characters were like for the show's first season. Now actually some of the characters do change and what have you, but their little attitudes and what have you don't change at all. Give me another minute, I'll be back. Okay, now of course I'll show you this. Now of course I do own the complete series of Punky Brewster in 4 separate sets released by Shout Factory, which started in 2004 at right about the time the series celebrated its 20th anniversary. Here's season 1. After that, in 2005 came the second season. Then 2006 came season 3. And the 4th season, which was released in 2008. Shout intended to release the complete series after this the following year to commemorate the series' 35th anniversary, but unfortunately, it got canceled for some reason. However, years later, they did manage to release the complete series years later, which you can find for a pretty fair price. Maybe not decent, but a fair price. But if you want these solo sets, you can get them for a real good price, maybe less than $20. Mill Creek released 3 best-of collections of the series from the first 3 seasons. No 4th one, unfortunately. The first 2 seasons were released in Australia by Umbrella Entertainment. But however, the third and fourth seasons never got released. The the DVDs by Shout Factory also include the Punky Brewster cartoon, the almost complete collection. Unfortunately, one episode was missing due to music issues. Still, I have to say Punky Brewster was one of the most cutest and most amazing and incredible shows I had ever known. I mean, right after Webster came out, this came out. That's why we got more cuteness. But after those two, we got another good cute show in the form of Small Wonder, which reminds me, it's the star of that show, Tiffany Brissett, who played Vicky on that show, Small Wonder, was actually one of the few girls who was up for the role of Punky Brewster, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I've yet to talk about Webster. I have talked about Small Wonder, but I will be revisiting that show on the Tvlog revisit as well later on this year. So that's it. Would I recommend Punky Brewster to you? Most definitely. You need to watch this. If you can't find the DVDs or the complete series, you can by all means. But if you would like to stream it, no problem. The full series is currently on Peacock, so look for it there, and you'll certainly have no trouble at all to find it. So, what did you think of Punky Brewster? Did you ever watch this when you were young, or did you ever catch reruns of it? Or do you have the DVDs like I do? If you never saw it. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Give them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation. Share my vids with your friends if you like as well. And we'll have another video coming up for you soon. So if you like this, check out the TV logs I did for these other NBC shows. In the upper left-hand corner is the episode I did on Silver Spoons. The upper right-hand corner is the episode I did on another big NBC sitcom that really lasted a little longer than those, The Facts of Life. Or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my Saturday morning TV log of the Punky Brewster animated series. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the TV log, then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, and there will be another TV log coming sometime down the road. Stay tuned. Until then, this is the Big D saying, see ya.